Knowing how massive the internet is, you probably know Mario. He is Nintendo's mascot and has made an appearance in hundreds of games. When trying to connect them, there will be a baker's dozen and a half of assumptions and theorizing. The 200 plus games have little to no connection to each other, and few have tried to make a definitive timeline. I'm giving my take on it, with a twist. I'll be doing it differently than normal. I'll be adding in the games year by year rather than having every title right up in my face. For example, I'll begin in 1981, then 1982, adding the games each year, then 1983, and so on. Before we start this, I would like to let everyone know that this won't be one full video, as this takes a lot of research to get done. This will be a series of videos to complete the timeline. For example, for part 1, I'll be making a timeline of the games from 1981 to 1992. Before we start, let's make some ground rules and comments. Number 1, I will be using a few sources to make points in the timeline regardless of the year, like the movie and Miyamoto. Whatever Miyamoto says is canon until it directly contradicts something. An example of Miyamoto contradicting the lore is when he said every Mario is the same Mario. That's not true. Mario and Paper Mario are two completely different characters. That's proven by Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. With that, the theory of Mario and Jumpman being two different people is possible. We're not going over that until later videos though. I've not read the manga, so I won't be using that as a source, although I will be talking about it when we get to a certain game, either in this video or the next. Number 2, I won't be mapping out Mario's Earth as it isn't necessary. I'll only make a map when necessary. If you want a pretty good map of the Mushroom World, check out Charlie and Luke's video. Even though I disagree with a few parts, it's really good. You will like it. If I miss a game, please point it out in the comments because my timeline will be different from others. Number 3, if it's a remake or updated version, we don't need to count it as canon unless it's extremely different from the original game. DLCs will be counted because they are pretty separate from the original game. Number 4, the Mario Wiki is my basis for the games in the timeline. There are a lot of missing games though, like the entire series of Punch-Out, so I'll have to add in an entire series. Okay, let's start the timeline with the very first year. For 1981, we have two games, Donkey Kong and Crazy Kong. Between the two, Donkey Kong is the canon one, as Crazy Kong is just a harder version of Donkey Kong. Because this is just one game, it's more of a time point than a timeline. Alright, next year is... For 1982, we have two more games, Donkey Kong Jr. and Greenhouse. We can nicely put Donkey Kong Jr. after Donkey Kong. When Donkey Kong falls onto his head, he gets knocked unconscious, Mario then captures Donkey Kong, and his son, Donkey Kong Jr., has to save him. Next game, Greenhouse. What is this game? Some random guy that's not Mario in a greenhouse? How does this connect to any other games? (1983) We have several games, so let's go through the list. Donkey Kong 2 is just a retelling of Donkey Kong Jr., so we don't need to count that one as canon. Donkey Kong 3 shows Donkey Kong breaking into Stanley's greenhouse. Now that connects, the game Greenhouse, but why would he be breaking into this greenhouse, you may ask? It's because he was looking for a home, he was looking for food, he was looking for water, and a greenhouse is all of that. Except for the shelter part. I don't think humans can live then. But yeah, so basically he breaks into Stanley's greenhouse and hangs in the rafters, unknowingly stirring up nests of bugs. Then when Stanley comes out, he starts hitting the beehives up there. So Stanley has to hit a beehive onto his head. And then he gets kicked out. But now there's spiders everywhere, so, the game of Greenhouse is now connected to the timeline. And the reason that Stanley's protecting his flowers from the spiders is because Donkey Kong just tried eating them, so that would make more sense. Okay, now this game is a really weird one. Donkey Kong Jr. Math. It doesn't make much sense to me to be canon, as firstly, I don't know where Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. could supply themselves with massive numbers. And also, who is this pink Donkey Kong? Donkey Kong Jr. 2 is a character that has appeared in only this game. Come on now. Like, there's not one future game he has appeared in. That's why I don't think it's canon. Next game, Mario's Bombs Away is a prequel to every game I have listed so far, because it shows Mario in the Vietnam War. Here's my theory. He was probably drafted, which means that he has a 2-year active duty and 4-year reserve duty for my research. Richard Nixon took the last soldiers out of Vietnam in 1975. Let's say that he was one of the troops that was taken out of Vietnam in 1975. Assuming the 2 years active duty was in Vietnam, this could mean he was drafted at 24 in 1973, meaning he was born in 1949. But what did Mario do during those 4 years? He got a degree in carpentry. That's why he's a carpenter during the events of Donkey Kong. Next games, Mario's Cement Factory and Mario Bros. Take place at the end of the current timeline. Mario and his brother Luigi look for jobs after Mario lost his job from the Donkey Kong incident, starting with the cement factory and then going to a plumbing business. But the story of Mario Bros. Is that they are under the sewers of New York City, trying to get rid of these weird turtles. Where'd they come from? Next year, 1984. Pinball is probably an attraction somewhere in New York City. My theory is that after the success of the brothers' plumbing business, they take a massive vacation. The same goes for golf, as Mario is a playable character. Mario Bros. Special is just Mario Bros. With updated graphics, updated sound, and a time limit, so we don't need to count that as canon. Stroke and Match Golf is one of 3 variations of golf on the Versus system, so we also don't need to count that as canon alongside Versus Golf and Versus Ladies Golf. Again, with Versus Pinball, it's just a port of pinball onto the Versus system. Versus Wrecking Crew takes place after Mario's Cement Factory, but before Mario Bros. I'll get into that in 1985. Donkey Kong Circus takes place before Donkey Kong and after Mario's Bombs Away. I have proof for this timeline placement. If you look at Saturday Supercade, a show from 1983, it shows Donkey Kong Jr. looking at an empty circus wagon, showing Donkey Kong. This means that Donkey Kong, Mario, and Pauline were in a circus together before the events of Donkey Kong. Next game. As for the canonicity of Punchball Mario Bros., it isn't. The manual says that Mario and Luigi are primitive men who do not know of modern society. That doesn't make sense whatsoever. The brothers went through a lot since their birth, like the Vietnam War, the whole Donkey Kong incident, and their many jobs. Not to mention, this seems to take the place of the original Mario Bros. In the timeline. So, Punchball Mario Bros. Is not canon. The final game of the year is Donkey Kong Hockey. I think this takes place at the end of the timeline that we have made so far. After Donkey Kong finally finds a place to stay, he wants to learn everything humans do in their day-to-day lives. So, after Mario came to his senses, he apologized to Donkey Kong. He then challenges him to a game of hockey, or something like that, next year. (1985), only 2 games, Wrecking Crew and Super Mario Bros. Wrecking Crew will replace Versus Wrecking Crew. Using the movie as a source, the brothers leave Spike to pursue the plumbing business. Super Mario Bros. Takes place farthest in the timeline, as there is no mention of the Mushroom Kingdom, and cannot seem to take place during the Donkey Kong games, as he's seen as a villain. A bit after he first gets to the Mushroom Kingdom, Bowser invades, turning Toads into ground and bricks. Also, I think I have an idea for where Mario's design came from. Look at Crazy Kong. You can see Mario looking like this version. Just something to think about. Next year.
I got this easy. What? Ow!
1986, we have a lot of games, so let's go through every single one. Versus Super Mario Bros. Is just Super Mario Bros. On the arcade. Although it has 6 new levels that are reused in Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, potentially meaning that the Lost Levels takes place either after or during Super Mario Bros. Except that cannot be true, as the story says it takes place in a parallel world, so even though I'm one of the 6 fans of the Lost Levels, I have to say it's not canon. Super Mario Bros. Special isn't canon, because even though we shouldn't blame it on a PC, I'm blaming it on a PC. Luigi isn't a playable character, the physics are off, it's because of the PC's power. Well, back then. Not to mention that it's just a port, so, I Am a Teacher's Super Mario sweater might just not be canon. because of the sweater designs. Now hear me out on this. Do you think Mario would know a pixel-perfect art of himself? Also, when in the timeline would he have learned knitting? I don't know, it seems like a fourth wall break to me. Unless a certain game later in the video proves otherwise, this game is not canon. All Night Nippon's Super Mario Bros. Is just a retool of the Lost Levels, so we don't need to count it as canon. Next year.
It worked! It's Mike Tyson! I am so ready for this, I'm gonna kick his butt! Yeah, let's do this! Wait, he knocks it down in one hit! Oh my god!
1987, starting off with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! The way this game is connected to Mario is that he is the referee of all of Little Mac's matches, who is the main character of the series. And this also brings the Punch-Out series to the timeline. There are a few games for this part of the timeline, and we will connect it through this game. Punch-Out Arcade, Boxing, Super Punch-Out Arcade, and Arm Wrestling. We can make a timeline of those and then connect them to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. In Punch-Out Arcade, we can see Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr. in the crowd. This means that Mario and Donkey Kong are now on good terms, which probably happened after Mario's vacation. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is Little Mac's boxing debut, so we can put that first chronologically within the series. Literally every boxer is the same age across every game, so these games all probably take place very close to each other. About a month in between is what some have theorized. The newspaper in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out shows April 1987, so all the games in the Punch-Out series take place within 1987. Boxing is just a retelling of Punch-Out Arcade, so that's not canon. Also in arm wrestling, Little Mac hung up the boxing gloves and became the arm wrestling champion of the world. So, we first have Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, then Punch-Out Arcade, then Super Punch-Out, then arm wrestling. We should put Punch-Out after the events of Donkey Kong Hockey, because all the games take place within 1987, which would be a few years after the Donkey Kong games and the Vietnam War. It would have to be only a little bit before Super Mario Bros., as by 1987, Mario is 40 years old. Next game. Doki Doki Panic. We cannot really talk about this game until the next year, so let's just walk past this one temporarily. Golf Japan Course and Golf US Course take place sometime during Mario's vacation. Famicom Grand Prix F1 Race takes place before the golf games and after pinball. I think that because there is so much golf played, I assume it's the last thing that he does before the end of the vacation. I assume F1 Race takes place after pinball, as I believe that pinball is an attraction within New York City. F1 Race takes place elsewhere in the world. Next year.
Oh my god.
That go-
Uh-oh. Oh my god. Why did we come down here? It's just been a lot of misery and anger and suffering. And then right. Oh my fat man. Get up! Ah!
1988. Alright, now we can talk about Doki Doki Panic, as it's just Super Mario Bros. 2, but slightly different. Super Mario Bros. 2 is a dream in the mind of Mario. The dream takes place in a dream world subcon. Get it? Because, like, subcon is short for subconscious. Okay. Anyways, the timeline placement for this game is probably after Super Mario Bros. It would make sense for Mario to dream about more adventures after he just had one, but we also have Doki Doki Panic as well. We must add it in the timeline. I have some sort of idea. This could be a retelling of Super Mario Bros. 2 as Mario telling a bedtime story to his children, or something like that. It could also make sense to be a parallel universe type of game, but I don't know. It also makes sense Mario would have children, as he is 39 years old by now if we assume Super Mario Bros. 1 and 2 take place sometime in 1988. Famicom Grand Prix 2 3D Hot Rally is a sequel to the first game, so it probably takes place after F1 Race but before Japan Course Golf. Simple placement, neatly snuggles into the timeline. Good job. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a stage play and takes place after the adventures of Super Mario Bros. And there is peace in the Mushroom Kingdom. This is the first note of the land of the Mushroom World, which we will get into later. What doesn't make sense to me is that there are power-ups in the play that didn't make an appearance in the first couple of games. That means that there might just be games in the future that explain and show power-ups and worlds in Super Mario Bros. 3. I mean, Tanuki Leaf, Pipeland, Koopalings? Yeah, no, this is a completely scripted Mario Bros. Returns is just an updated version of Mario Bros., so we don't need to count it as canon. Next year. (1989) Super Mario Land takes place after the events of Super Mario Bros. 3 because Mario is in Terrace Land saving Daisy. Why would he be doing that? Because there's peace in the Mushroom Kingdom and he's doing other stuff. Baseball definitely takes place during the vacation, as with most of the sports games so far. Alleyway is not canon as it shows Mario in a spaceship playing a massive game of Breakout. Come on now. And Tetris is also not canon. The end shows Mario, Luigi, Toadstool, Bowser, and Donkey Kong. But it also shows Pit from Kid Icarus, which, if anyone knows, takes place centuries before modern times. The ending also shows Link from The Legend of Zelda and Samus from Metroid. Unless they time travel to modern day of the 1990s, then Tetris is simply not canon. Golf for the Game Boy is a separate title from the NES game despite the Mario Wiki calling it an extended version. It's so much more different it could be considered its own standalone title. But there are similar courses to NES Golf, so it and Game Boy Golf take place sometime around each other, or the vacation. Now we got Super Mario Bros. For the Nelsonic Game Watch. It's just based on the NES game, so it isn't canon. Next year.
Right, I can't remember how you fly with that annoying move, you crap game, you. Oh no! No! You son of a bitch! No! No! Route, secret right. Grab it, you little bat! Good job, he's a scumbag!
$1990, we got the Super Mario Bros. Watches with 3 games, Mario's Egg Catch, Luigi's Hammer Toss, and Princess Toadstool's Castle Run. When it comes to these games, these events could happen in the games, but I don't think are actually canon. Mario's Egg Catch could happen during the stage play, Luigi's Hammer Toss could also happen during Super Mario Bros. 3, and Toadstool's Castle Run could be right before Super Mario Bros., if you count those as canon, that is. Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Nelsonic Game Watch takes place 2 years after the first Nelsonic Game Watch game. This could be a lore drop that Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES takes place 2 years after the first Super Mario Bros. Super Mario World is set many times to take place after Super Mario Bros. 3, so that's an easy timeline placement. Finally, we have Dr. Mario. This game shows Mario as a medicine doctor, and this game fits perfectly into the timeline that we have made so far. Back in the 1960s, becoming a medicine doctor only took 6 years. Assuming Mario began working for his degree at 18, he was 24 when he got his degree, then in the same year the events of Dr. Mario take place, and he gets drafted for the Vietnam War. It fits perfectly. Next year. 1991. We're almost done with the video, so let's get through the last games. Super Mario World for the Nelsonic Game Watch takes place after Super Mario Bros. 3 Nelsonic Game Watch in a different timeline as the events are different from their NES counterparts. Mario the Juggler takes place either right before, during, or after the events of Super Mario Bros. 3. Here's my theory. Mario wants to show everyone in the audience his favorite things from his circus days with Donkey Kong and Pauline. He starts with juggling and perhaps does other things. The reason why it's next to Super Mario Bros. 3 is because if you look at the background, you can see what looks to be the same area, that being Pipes and Bricks. Yoshi is probably not canon as a game, but the character is. The reason being that it's a Tetris-inspired game and there's no story. A possible location for the timeline is after Super Mario World, but you're stacking small versions of captured enemies on top of each other, which doesn't really make much sense as with Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Mario Roulette is literally a gambling arcade with no story, and it's just not canon. NES Open Tournament Golf happens after Super Mario Land. There's peace throughout the world, Mario, Luigi, Toadstool, Daisy, and Donkey Kong are all together playing some golf. Clearly, Donkey Kong and Mario are now friends, which means it has to be after Donkey Kong Hockey. It's quite difficult to tell whether the Kong accountant is Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Jr., but currently, it has to be Donkey Kong. He's getting too old, and Donkey Kong Jr. ends up having adventures with Mario from now on in the timeline. But with Donkey Kong being an accountant, maybe Donkey Kong Jr. Math is canon, and that's Donkey Kong teaching his children. The final game in 1991 is Super Mario Bros. Print World. This game is quite contradictory, showing games from Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3, Super Mario Land, F1 Race, and Dr. Mario. I originally thought that this game could depict kids being handed coloring pages at the end of the play of Super Mario Bros. 3, but it shows stuff from Super Mario Land, which takes place after that. So, this would have to take place after Super Mario Land. Now we're on to the final year of the first part of the timeline.
Here we go. Game plan, watch this. Boom! Okay, second place! Yes! Yes! Oh my god!
1992. For Super Mario Race, I think this game takes place either before or after F1 Race. The map seems to be in a circle with some rocky peaks to the left and a building on the right. Although, because this is one of the 2 watches made for the Game Watch Boy, might as well put those with the Nelsonic Game Watches. I don't think this, the Dr. Mario Game Watch Boy, are at all canon. Super Mario Bros. And its direct sequel, Super Mario Bros. Mushroom World, are just pinball games with no lore, so we don't have to count these as canon. Although, this Mushroom World seems more real every time I hear it. What is it? Well, it's a world separate from Earth. So far, we've been assuming that every game in the Mushroom Kingdom take place on Earth. But I'm pretty sure things like the Vietnam War would not occur because there are more dangerous threats like Bowser. In fact, the movie gives us an answer on how the Mushroom World is a different world from Earth. In the depths of the Brooklyn sewers, there's a pipe that can transport things from world to world. This is probably why Mario and Luigi see weird turtles that aren't of this world in the game Mario Bros. They came through the big pipe. Now we have Mario Paint. See, I think we could have this in a distant future, as in 20 years future. I could see this as Mario taking up some hobbies in his late years, such as painting and knitting. I'm thinking Nintendo makes games based on Mario's adventures in universe, similar to Five Nights at Freddy's, which could be an explanation for the Sweater Games canonicity. Also, in future games, there are many instances of Nintendo consoles, like the newly released Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. When you AFK, Donkey Kong pulls out a Nintendo Switch. Considering knitting is definitely more difficult than throwing colors on a canvas, I think I Am a Teacher's Super Mario Sweater takes place before Mario Paint. Mario starts knitting, but finds it difficult, so he decides to paint. And that's what he does until his deathbed. Or he stops after a bit, I don't know. Mario Teaches Typing is exactly what you think it is. Mario makes a game to teach kids how to type. It should stay as that. The story makes no sense. It can't be real events. As for when it takes place after Super Mario World, as it shows thwomps from Super Mario Bros. 3, and we know Super Mario World is a near-direct sequel to that. I also don't think Mario would be able to create an entire game before the trip to Dinosaur Land and after the play. Mario probably made the game for 1, more money after the success of the play, or 2, with his fame and influence, he can teach kids how to, well, type. Super Mario and Friends, When I Grow Up, is another game made by Mario, but it's for preschoolers. As for timeline placement, it shows stuff from Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, Dr. Mario, and The Legend of Zelda, which came out in 1986. Currently, in this timeline, Super Mario Bros. Takes place in 1987, so it makes sense for Nintendo to partner with Mario and make some good little electric crayon games featuring their big selling character. Also, Mario didn't have every single job in the game. He has so far been a soldier, doctor, carpenter, plumber, and now a sort of superhero. So, for timeline placement, it takes place sometime after Super Mario World. Super Mario Kart takes place after NES Open Tournament Golf. This is proven by Donkey Kong Jr. clearly being older than in Donkey Kong Jr. 1982. More proof is that in NES Open Tournament Golf, Donkey Kong stops joining Mario and Luigi in games because he's too old. His son then joins them for the adventures. Super Mario Land 2 is a direct sequel. While Mario is in Sarasaland Land saving Daisy, Wario travels to Mario's private island and takes it over, leading to the events of Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins. Now is the final game of the first part of the Super Mario timeline, Yoshi's Cookie. Although the original game has no story, Nintendo Puzzle Collection from 2003 gives it one. Just to be clear, Nintendo Puzzle Collection is a collection of 3 games with updated stories and graphics. Dr. Mario is the same as Dr. Mario 64, Yoshi's Cookie now is a story. Very nice indeed. It seems to take place after Super Mario World. Mario befriends a Yoshi, bakes some cookies, but Bowser steals them because he loves the scent. Okay, we have a complete timeline from 1981 all the way to 1992. Let's look at this beautiful timeline. Ah, yes. Witness it in all its glory. I plan to make a part 2, 3, and so on, all the way until every game is done. I thank you for watching the entire video through. Please like and subscribe if you like this type of video, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!